Welcome to the show. This is Brandon Wen, and you're listening to the Understanding Consumer Neuroscience podcast, brought to you by the folks at Cloud Army. In this episode, Richard talks to Carla Nagel, founder of the NeuroMarketing Science and Business Association, about connecting marketers, agencies, and neuroscientists together at events and in their quarterly publications.
Hi, this is Richard Campbell, and thanks for listening to Understanding Consumer Neuroscience. Today, my guest is Carla Nagel, who is the Executive Director of the NeuroMarketing Science and Business Association and the founder of the NeuroMarketing World Forum. She's an open-minded community manager and master of getting things done in a nice and friendly way. Although she does not have a background in neuromarketing, she developed an objective helicopter view of the industry worldwide. Carla founded the NMSBA in 2012, and since then, she runs it with enthusiasm. Together with her team, nicknamed Carla's Angels, she is responsible for the publication's Insights and the NeuroMarketing Yearbook and the Shopper's Brain Conference series and the NeuroMarketing World Forum. Welcome to the show, Carla. Thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me, Richard.
Cloud Army, who sponsors this show, was at the last NMSBA, which I believe was in Berlin.
Correct. It was the 10th edition. 10th edition.
Congratulations. Of course, I'm involved in events. You and I are similar in the sense that we both work in events, and we're not experts in neuroscience. So, I've been having a lot of fun as a marketing person talking about neuroscience to some of these extraordinary people that you gather for your forum. Since 2012, I've got to think after 10 years, irrespective of interruptions caused by pandemics, they must have evolved a lot in the past decade.
That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, most companies in the industry were focused on EEG.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, it's a wide spectrum of all kinds of technologies, from fMRI, EEG, eye tracking, of course.
Yeah.
Reaction time.
Yeah. All these different tools.
And a lot of AI and ML. All these different tools. Correct.
Yeah. Again, my background in technology, I think in the past 10 years, cloud has massively emerged. So there's this incredible resource available to us to gather neuroscience data in different ways and make it easier to understand. So your World Forum's got to be a place where everyone's comparing notes about how they're going about gathering neuroscience data for different clients.
That's right. The audience also changed and broadened a bit.
Mm-hmm. What do you see as the role for the World Forum and the association as a whole?
Well, the association as a whole is bringing together all the things that are happening. So we have a quarterly magazine
mm-hmm.
where we publish news, where we focus on, what is purpose in marketing? How does it work? How does it work in the brain? Or how do you integrate color? It's not a recipe like if you put red into your logo, this and this will happen. But how does it work? So we dive into these topics that are of interest to marketers.
Yeah, for sure.
For the industry as a whole, I think we bring together the people from science. They want to know what business is looking for.
Mm-hmm.
We bring together clients and vendors.
Right.
It's a very specific niche market. It's bringing together neuroscience enthusiasts, or, well, to put it nicely, nerds
yes.
in the field.
We like the scientists, but they're their own interesting group of folks. They definitely think and speak differently around this. I got to think that the agencies are getting more involved as well. It's not just big companies doing neuroscience directly, but a lot of these art direction firms and media firms now are taking neuroscience more seriously.
That is so true. Yes.
Yeah.
I think 10 years ago, we all thought this is just a tipping point and a big boom is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It took a little longer, but you can tell that the field has matured a lot. And also that the newer technologies are much more closer to what normal marketers understand and are used to.
Yeah, it's becoming kind of table stakes that you need to know this to actually optimize your marketing.
Yes. There are companies, of course, that put reaction time on a normal survey, and marketers understand surveys.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put reaction time to it, it's not so hard to understand. Another thing that was presented in Berlin was adding EEG or biometrics to your focus groups. So, okay, this person is a little bit shy, but you see that he's or she is engaged in the conversation. So you can ask specific questions that makes you curious if you look at the results behind your screen. So that's a whole new way of thinking.
Yeah, it's a great insight that they don't have to be the loudest person in the room to still have some significant reactions to the conversation if you can measure them. Though, I mean, I find EEG a bit invasive, but it's still, you're really measuring person's response, not just what they say.
Yeah. Nielsen is now bringing EEG into the rooms. They have started a panel with, I think, 3,000 families that know themselves how to put on an EEG headset, and they can participate in studies from abroad.
Wow. So they've not just in the laboratory, but in the home.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is already happening for biometric results, heart rate. Other companies, they distribute things they can put on your hands or your heart.
Galvanic skin response. Eye trackers are not that expensive these days. You can certainly put those in people's homes. I mean, it is just becoming easier to gather that data in multiple forms.
Right.
So it's not just a conference. It's also the association with the newsletters and so forth. So there is a subscription. You can sign up, become a member.
Yes.
So what does membership get you?
Well, membership gets you, of course, the quarterly magazine, but also 10 years of neuromarketing articles in digital format on our website. So you can search for whatever topic you would like to dive into, and you find all the articles related to it. You get a printed copy of the neuromarketing yearbook. We bring out a yearbook every year with the 10 to 15 best scientific papers summarized in an easy to understand format, and business cases from all kind of companies from all over the world.
Interesting. Because the conversations I've had many times is a marketer starting to understand the value of neuroscience and wants to get more involved, but they've got to convince the hires up too. So it sounds like you have the materials to help, communicate that story to a larger part of the organization.
True.
And get more commitment to it. So it's nice to know there's a repository somewhere. It's not just an individual book or, bits and pieces like that, but to be part of the association.
It was quite some work to digitalize it, but now we have it. We are very proud. It definitely has its value. Also for ourselves, sometimes to look back, was that article? Yeah. You can find it easy.
Well, you're reaching a point now at 10 years where you have a story arc of how neuroscience has evolved and how marketers have changed in thinking. Like it's clearly it's changing over time as things mature and more people have success.
Yes. And in the pandemic, we spent our time on developing an exam. Mm-hmm. It's called the NeuroMarketing Fundamentals exam. So people can study themselves and bring themselves to a level that, it's valuable for a marketer to learn about what is an emotion in the brain. Mm-hmm. How do you get attention? How do you measure attention? What kind of neuromarketing technologies are there? And what should you ask if you are working with a vendor?
I would also think that's really valuable when you then want to dig through, 10 years worth of materials from the association to have that common language of what we mean by emotion and by a test and all of the elements that goes into effective neuromarketing.
Yeah.
How much has the industry grown into your perspective over this past decade now? Is it common language? Do you find most marketers know about this? Like, how far have we come?
I find it hard to say. We actually should start measuring this because it's a question that comes up very often. I would say it's still a small market.
Right. People still rather buy clicks online than actually tune their marketing. And
for what it works, yeah. For
better or worse. I mean, there are certainly plenty of organizations out there that are quick to take your money and tell you they're going to do advertising for you. Mm-hmm. Well, how well you can measure that value is a separate question entirely. And it takes time to figure that out.
But I think it's a good sign, what you were saying, that agencies are hopping on the bus. Mm-hmm. They can distinguish themselves from standard agencies to say, okay, our creative work is backed up with science. So that's a development I'm very much interested in.
Yeah, and I appreciate the idea that we do less sort of gut reaction to a given storyboard or, mock-up of an ad and say, okay, of these 6 ads, which one do you want to spend on? To actually say, let's go test them all. And maybe get some dimensions around that ad's going to work better for this demographic versus that demographic. Like just a little more measurable science to soliciting a response from a potential customer.
I think that is the right way to go.
Yeah.
I'm curious how many storyboards are still chosen by gut feeling.
You famously think about agencies that way, that these are folks that work on this every day, and they're supposed to be the experts to give you the confidence to say they think this is the best one, go with it. I still rather have the data. I'm a data guy, though. I think that's always the frustration, right? Is you're not going to know until you've spent so much that it's irrelevant whether you're right or not. So it's better to spend a little more to do the testing and have some better data to know this is why we went this way and look at the results from there. Waiting until the sales come in or don't come in, it's kind of too late at that point.
Mm-hmm. True.
Yeah. I understand that the NMSBA has a collection of case studies.
That's true.
Where do they come from?
Well, we have vendor members in over 30 or 40 countries, I guess.
Wow.
And they are eager to share their latest work. That is how the NeuroMarketing yearbook started. We asked, do you want to share a business case? We will put them all together in a case study format.
Awesome. So is that one of the things that's in the yearbook are these case studies? As a member, you'll get
Yes.
You get this every year?
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
And you get access to all the articles, all the cases from the past.
Right.
We have digitalized those also in the article archive.
And do folks use this as like exemplars of how to go about a study? Like, is that the driving force behind them?
Yeah.
So, I've also run into companies where when they've had success with neuromarketing, they really want to keep that to themselves too. Like that becomes their secret sauce. And we don't want our competitors to know what we were able to do and what we were able to understand about our customers too. I don't know if you ever run into that where it's like people don't want to share their studies.
Yeah. Sometimes you hear stories you cannot share, which is a pity,
Yeah, it is a challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously NMSBA has been around for 10 years. So how many case studies have you got?
400 or so.
That's more than I would think. I mean, a yearbook can only be so big, but to have hundreds is really something.
Yeah, it's also the magazine that has case studies every now and then.
Yeah, so the normal part. So I almost feel like I should make a series of shows just on your case studies. Because
that would be great.
Yeah, because people like examples, right? Like it would be fun to walk through one of them and just talk through the different kinds of success that folks have with neuroscience. It's they're all different, and certainly my experience is just this huge array of different approaches to measuring and tuning advertising and marketing attempts to different audiences. So, where do folks go to get more information about the NMSBA?
NMSBA.com.
Ah, good name, easy to get there. And what's the Shopper Brain Conference?
Well, the Shopper Brain Conference is everything behavioral science and neuroscience applied in retail environments.
Okay, so specifically focused on the retail side.
Yeah, and in a way, it totally makes sense because the fast-moving consumer goods are the ones that need distinctive packaging, that need to be seen in the shelves. Mm-hmm. Eye tracking is easy applicable in store.
I mean, it's easy to fall into thinking about neuromarketing as just for retail. Mm-hmm. But we've had some great conversations on this show, too, about governments using it to encourage their citizens to conserve more and, not litter and not waste energy, those kinds of things, as well as, buying the right package of orange juice.
Yeah, well, it can go in all directions, even HR purposes.
Sure.
Are my employees happy enough? Do they have a nice feeling about the brand of the company? Stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of applications around, but for a conference, it's nice to have a focus on retail. So people in the room recognize it more.
Right.
If it goes from government to HR to just some theoretic stuff, people walk out the room. Okay, what's in it for me?
Mm-hmm.
And the Shopper Brain Conference, we were doing this since 2013, I believe. It is so much focused on their daily work that they walk out the room and say, okay, this was practical. This was something I could understand.
So, yeah.
So for the hardcore neuroscientist, it's not the best event to go to, but it has a very focused audience. On
the marketing side and those particular pieces. For the broader science, go to the forum. That sounds like the place for them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The NeuroMarketing World Forum is the latest and the greatest in neuromarketing. That's how we sell it. Every serious vendor around is there. Every person that spends his work week on neuroscience is there. So it's an update where, it's the celebrating the industry.
Yeah, for sure. And then a quarterly magazine. I mean, magazines are getting rarer. A lot of people, do they read the paper or do they rather just have a digital copy? Like, what's it like making a magazine in 2022?
Well, it's still a paper version that goes to the coffee tables around the world.
Mm-hmm.
But the personal membership only gets the digital version, and people are fine with it.
Right. I tend to read digitally myself, so it's always but there is something about paper, and there is something about color and spreading it on a table and looking at it, depending on the kind of things that are in there too.
For sure.
I mean, I think your covers are amazing. I think it looks like you put a lot of time into that. But in the end, it's about the stories that are inside.
Mm-hmm. True.
Well, Carla, thank you so much for coming to talk to us a little bit about what NMSBA has been up to. I appreciate that this exists. It just speaks to neuroscience becoming its own entity, and with a bunch of different companies in different roles, and having a place to gather and have those conversations and support each other.
Cool.
All right. Thanks so much for coming on. And thank you, listener, for listening to Understanding Consumer Neuroscience.